What's going on, everyone? Welcome to my. I've been trying to go live for the last several minutes, probably like 30 minutes, and it just hasn't been working. But it seems to be working now. My screen is up. I got my website up. You know the stuff I want to talk about. Oh no, gotta go back. Gotta go back. There it is. Okay. Yeah, I'm still getting used to this. I have to admit, I'm not really used to this at all. So. First things first, we're going to start with the Spider-Man suit. As you guys can see right here, Mr. Holland is suiting up again. It's going to be interesting because the last three movies that he's been doing, his identity was pretty much known from the start. And we all know that with the last film, No Way Home, uh, everybody forgot who Spider-Man is. So he's pretty much by himself. There's no Aunt May. There's no Uncle Ben. He's really by himself. So I'm interested to see how this is gonna play out with the new film. But what we're really talking about today is his suit, and the suit is really reminiscent of. It's like kind of like it's kind of like a mashup of both Toby Maguire's Spider-Man suit and the Amazing Spider-Man. I mean, it does. It obviously it looks a little bit different, but if you look here with the logo, Spider-Man logo is very. I mean, actually, it looks a lot more like the um, Amazing Spider-Man suit. So, but anyway, I like the suit, and let's go ahead. Let's tap into this article really quick and give it a look. See. So yeah, man. Tom Holland has finally revealed his new Spidey suit for Spider-Man, Brand New Day, and after briefly teasing the suit on Friday, on the 1st of August, which was National Spider-Man Day, which I did not know. There's been a lot of national days. There was a isn't there like a National Boyfriend or Girlfriend Day or something like that? I don't know, but I didn't know this was a the National Spider-Man Day. That's news to me. Maybe I'm not as much of a fan as I thought I was. Um, the full unveiling came on Saturday morning with a longer video. Holland emerges from the shadows in his new costume, which more closely resembles the comic book costume than his previous duds. I mean, there's a reason for that. Tony Stark was building his suit for him, so that makes sense. That the suit didn't match uh before. Anyways. But then again, even in the comic books, Iron Man was building suits for Spider-Man. So when he had the claws in the back, that's comic book accurate. So I don't anyway, whatever. Let's take a quick look at this real quick. Yeah. Um yeah, I think it's dope. It was real quick and subtle. I think it's dope, man, and he's a really good Peter Parker. I give him credit. I look forward to seeing more of it. So I'm looking forward to the movie. So the suit looks cool. It's a mashup of both the last two Spider Men, and I think it's cool. There's talk of actually. Let's continue reading first before I give more of my thoughts. Uh, the new costume has brighter reds and blues and sports a larger spider insignia than his past suits from Spider Man Homecoming, Far From Home, and No Way Home. The upcoming Spider Man Brand New Day, set to release theaters July 31st, 2026. Brand New Day is the fourth Spidey movie from Sony and Disney in the MCU, following the blockbuster Spider Man No Way Home in 2021. This will be the first time Holland has reappeared in the MCU since joining the screen with Sony's two previous Spider-Men, Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield in No Way Home, which was an awesome movie. I think that's just awesome. Enough said. What's all this? Get that out of here. In No Way Home, Parker's true identity as Spider-Man is revealed to the entire world thanks to Jake Gyllenhaal's Mysterio spilling the beans. With his privacy erased, he turns to Benedict Cumberbatch's Doctor Strange to cast a spell and make everyone forget that he's Spider-Man. However, the spell has some unintended consequences, don't they all? And pulls in the other web slingers and their villains from other dimensions. The three team up to defeat the evildoers, but in the end, Peter makes the tough decision and allows Doctor Strange to finish his spell and make everyone forget his identity. That means his girlfriend, MJ Watson Jones. Zendaya. I know why I just drew a blank just then. Best friend Ned. Jacob. I always have a hard time saying Batalon. I have a hard time. My bad, man. And everyone else has forgotten who Peter is. Also, in a tragic accident, Peter's Aunt May dies. Sad. But with great power comes great responsibility, which I thought was tastefully done. We always expected Uncle Ben to say that, but, thus comes Brand New Day, which pulls inspiration from the Spider-Man comic storyline of the same name. In the comic, Spidey makes a deal with the devil, Mephisto, to make the world forget his identity and to resurrect Aunt May, but it also dissolves his marriage to MJ and effectively reboots his world. Okay. Shang-Chi director Destin Daniel Critton, directs Brand New Day, which will also introduce Sadie Sink and Liz Colin-Zayas to the MCU. Okay. John Barenthal's Vigilante, The Punisher, and Mark Ruffalo's Bruce Banner, aka the Hulk, will also appear in the movie. That's interesting. My bad for butchering some of these names. It's not my intention to do that, but I'm sorry. Oh, wait a minute. Is there more? That's it? All right. Let me see. Is there more? Yeah, I'm not doing all that. Anyway, I do want to get to the other things that I wanted to talk about today too, which was part of the title. With Marvel, what's up with all these ads? It is Variety. What am I thinking? With his box office with Fantastic Four, I don't understand why there's so much like a lot of hate right now when it comes to this film. I actually like the film, and I actually was going into it with I tried to keep an open mind, but the film itself, when it was first announced, I was like, oh, again, they never get this right. What was it, 1993 or 95? They tried. Then it was then it was the early 2000s films, which was cool. They made two of them, so they were successful financially. And then the 2015, which I thought was cool with the darker tone, but I understand why people didn't like it very much. But I actually liked it. I liked the Doom character. I liked the actor who played the Doom character and how he brought him to life. I didn't mind it. There was definitely some flaws with the 2015 movie with Michael B. Jordan. I just didn't think that was cool. The race swapping and things like that. There's plenty of other black characters out there. Let's just put them on screen and give them a good story instead of race swapping. I never really was a big fan of race swapping at all. But when it comes to this film, I actually like the way it looks. I like the retro look. I like how things are presented. The color blue is really distinctive. The story was really, it was a simple story. What I just didn't like the story being, okay, the reason why they're having such a problem with Galactus is not because he's about to eat the planet, but because they didn't want to give up their kid. I didn't like that part about it. I thought Galactus wanting to eat the planet was reason enough to I thought the stakes would be high enough for that, but instead they made it even they added another layer with the kid. I think he should have been a second movie. It should have been the second one in, and they just should have had a fight in an all-out battle with Silver Surfer. And then obviously towards the end, the Silver Surfer has a change of heart, blah, blah, blah. But I think it should have really been between the Silver Surfer and the Fantastic Four instead of adding the baby. The baby could have came later, Like I said before, in my video that I put out right after I finished watching the film, it reminds me of The Incredibles. And I think that's mainly why I kind of like it so much. But, anyway, It was still a cool movie for me, but looking at this box office, Jesus, a 66% drop. Uh, wow, 66%. That's a lot. Apparently, that's more than the Thunderbolts drop. That's a lot. Yeah, man. Okay, so let's read real quick. Marvel's first family might not save the day after all. Wow. Who wrote this? Rebecca Rubin. Thanks, Rebecca. Is quickly losing steam in its second week, signaling the comic book adventure isn't connecting at the box office beyond the film's core demographic of superhero fans. After a healthy 117.6 million debuted, the Fantastic Four suffered a hefty 67% drop in its sophomore outing, with 40 million from 4,125 theaters heading into the weekend. Box office analysts anticipated a decline of 55% to 60% from its opening. By comparison, Superman, the James Gunn version, dropped by 53% in its second week after launching a $125 million earlier in July. This painful fall is surprising because the Marvel tentpole has the benefit of positive reviews and word of mouth. Exactly, which is why I'm really kind of confused. Maybe some people went to go see Superman twice. I don't know. Or it could very well be what this Miss Rebecca Rubin said. Word of mouth is just not as good. Well, no, word of mouth is good. It's just that the core audience went to see it and they're like, okay, I'm good. Positive reviews as well as a clear runway in terms of competition. Yeah, it really was nobody coming out at the time when they dropped. Although those ticket sales were enough to rank number one in North American charts, the first steps endured none of the steeper second weekend drops for Disney's Marvel Cinematic Universe, better than the Marvels, down 70-80%. That movie should have just not even come out the Marvels. They should have just said, you know what? Let's just cut our losses. They should have did what dude did, and I forget his name, the CEO of Discovery, with Warner Brothers. And she should have just said, yeah, you know what? Let's just not even put this out. Cut our losses, take the L, just pay everybody. It's okay. No one's gonna see this movie, but here's your check for doing the work. But just cut the losses and just start fresh. I mean, 78% is a lot. But in the company of February's Captain America, Brave New World, down 68%. 2023's Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, 70%. And 2022's Thor, Love and Thunder. I mean, all of those movies are self-explanatory. You could tell why they all dropped so far. And the word of mouth wasn't that great on any of those films. If you watch the movies, you'll understand. I don't need to rehash it right now. So far, Fantastic Four has generated 198 million domestically and 368 million globally. Luckily for Marvel, whose output has been widely inconsistent in post-pandemic times, the first steps is pacing to outgross this year's prior theatrical disappointments of Captain America: Brave New World, 415 globally, and Thunderbolts 382 globally. I'm surprised with Thunderbolts only doing 382. When it didn't drop as much as Fantastic Four dropped. That's different. Okay. The final tally for Fantastic Four won't be disastrous like the Marvels. Get out of here. 206. Thunderbolts, but it's not yet a return to box office glory for Marvel. However, the MCU should officially regain its box office stride with its next three films. 2026 Spider-Man, that's almost a given. Spider-Man is like a shoo-in. You just can't. I don't know if you can go wrong. If you go wrong with Spider-Man, you gotta actually have to be trying. You have to be trying to go wrong with Spider-Man if you mess that up. Honestly, in my humble opinion. But what Spider-Man movie didn't make money? Spider-Man is like Batman. It's like they always make money. It's something about those characters that just doesn't stop. I guess they're the most human of the comic book series of books and stories. They're just the most, I guess, more relatable. Maybe Batman's not as relatable because he's a billionaire and he lost his parents and he's like superhuman outside of being an actual metahuman. But you know what it is? It's their rogues gallery. It's their villains. That's what it is. Spider-Man's villains and Batman's villains are what make those two characters so popular. You can have a good 10 films off top with Batman, and each movie having a different villain. You got Penguin, Joker, Deathstroke, Clayface, which is apparently there's a movie coming out with that's going to be a horror movie with Clayface. I think DC's doing a good thing with kind of focusing on the villains. Like I said, his Batman's rogues gallery is ridiculous. Even the Penguin series that's out right now. I think that has to be the reason why those two characters work so well. Their rogues galleries are ridiculous. Same thing with Spider-Man with his equivalent of Joker with the Goblin, Shocker, Scorpion, Rhino, Sandman. He just has a lot of people that do a lot of damage, and both him and Batman always seem to be able to overcome it. So I think it's the Rogues Galleries. That's what it is. But let's keep going. And Avengers Doomsday. And 2027's Avengers Secret Wars. Now, Doomsday apparently is obviously is going to have Doctor Doom in it. I'm not the biggest fan of Robert Downey Jr. being Doctor Doom. Honestly, I'm just not. I think they should have went with somebody else. I understand that there's a story arc on another dimension, on another Earth, where Tony Stark becomes Doctor Doom. I get it. And they're leaning into that, especially with Fantastic Four taking place. I think it was Earth 948 or 348, which explains why it has that retro 60s look. So him appearing in that world makes sense. But I just think that when it comes to Robert Downey Jr., he had his time in the MCU. I just don't see why they're bringing him back. No offense to him and his acting chops or anything like that, but I'm just not the biggest fan of having. I just don't get it. Like why? I don't understand. But it's Marvel, their money, whatever. We'll see what happens. Maybe RDJ will prove me wrong and shut me up. But as of right now, I just don't like his casting as Doctor Doom. I just don't. I didn't understand it. I don't get why. Again, there's a story arc for Tony Stark, and if that's where they're going, maybe we'll see what happens. I'm gonna see the film anyway, just to kind of see how they connect the dots. But for me, it's just not. I wouldn't have done. I would have went with somebody else. Fantastic Four is not a top tier Marvel franchise. I don't know about that. Maybe it is. They're called Marvel's first family, so not a top tier, really. Miss Rubin. Never has been. Wow. Says analyst Jeff Bach of Exhibitor Relations. Remember, this ramps up into Avengers. That's the real payoff. Wow. I would argue that before Marvel, the MCU, Feige and them, started building up the movies to ultimately the Avengers, I would argue that the Fantastic Four was more famous amongst the general public than Avengers was. Honestly, I think more people, if you heard Fantastic Four, would more recognize that than the Avengers. They'll be able to tell you the powers of the Fantastic Four faster than the powers of the Avengers. I honestly, it's my opinion, but I kind of really believe that. The most people knew the characters of Fantastic Four than the Avengers. This person, Jeff Bach of Exhibitor Relations, he's just going off the last 10 to 15 years of Marvel movies. There's no way he watched the animated series back in the 90s or read the comic books. I don't see how. I don't know. Maybe if I'm wrong, you let me know in the comment section. Okay. 3 movies opened nationwide, but none were competing for the same audience as Fantastic Four. Among new releases, Universal and DreamWorks animation heist comedy The Bad Guys 2 enjoyed the strongest start with 22 million. Okay. Yeah, this is going into other movies I'm not really interested in. Yeah, I think I'm done with that. But anyway, yeah, I'm probably just gonna leave it there, right there. I'm not gonna go any. How long have I been going on? It's been almost 20 minutes of a live. I'm not gonna keep this live going too much longer because, well, I wouldn't say too much longer. it's my first live, honestly. It's my first live. I don't even think I have a thumbnail yet for this. But I'm gonna be going live more often and talking about things like this. But yeah, man, there's the skinny on what's been going on. Spider-Man, the Fantastic Four, and my thoughts on Doctor Doom. I'm just not really feeling it. But anyway, I think I'm gonna leave it there. And for my first live, I don't think I did too bad. You let me know in the comment section. I'm gonna put this up as soon as possible. Well, as soon as I hit this button, it's gonna be, you know, posted. I mean, it's posted now because it is live. But as soon as I'm finished, I'm gonna just go back up really quick. That's one thing about some of these websites, man. They just have so many damn ads. You got to fight through that, man. Anyway, I'll see you guys later. Thank you for tuning into my very first live. And hopefully, I will see you guys again with my next live when I really start figuring out all this stuff. This, this camera and this laptop and this software. And yeah, leave a comment, man. Let me know if this was a good format. If I need to improve on anything, I'm open. Just keep it light. This is again my first live, and I'm not really used to doing this. So, if you guys have any suggestions, throw them in the comment section, and I'll try to make some adjustments. And you're welcome to send me things to talk about too. Again, yeah. So anyway, until the next one, I'll see you guys later. This is Flying-Artz. This is Von Walker with the Flying-Artz, and I will see you guys again at the next one. Have a good day.